Ladies and gentlemen, it's about to go down in the Rock Town. It's great in the A State. That's right. Are you all ready for Bonding of the Sexes? That sounded pretty good, but I don't know if you all were sure about it. That was about a 7 out of 10, but I know we can do better. Are you ready? Ladies and gentlemen, my name is LaRon McAdoo, Ron Mac, the hip optimist, the main sticker, underground figure, a whole lot of stuff. But you know, my mama called me LaRon McAdoo, so that's who I am. And I am the first ever Little Rock Poet Laureate. And I'm gonna do a little poem, but in addition to being the first Poet Laureate, I am a motivational speaker, and my brand is called Mactivated. And you know, we're here talking about bonding of the sexes. And so I thought about a poem that I could do that would illustrate what we're really talking about. And then I thought about some of the people that I've life coached and talked about some of the things that we have discussed. And I think there's 3 main topics that we talk about. And one of them is self-development, right? You have to be able to grow. You have to be able to evolve. And when you're in a relationship, you also have to be able to evolve. And a lot of times, even though I'm talking to my clients individually, their relationships creep into the conversation. And that self-development is part of it. The other thing is, are you secure? Meaning, do you know who you are? Are you solid? Because you don't go for a 50 to complete you. You go with your 100%, find another 100% so you can do what you need to do. And then the last thing is the support. Are you willing to be there for somebody else? Or are you irrelevant? You have to be relevant to another person's life. You have to be relevant to your community. You have to be relevant to your home. You just can't be there taking up space and only takers. Takers are the first ones you get out your life. The givers are the ones you keep. So in making sure that you're sure about who you are, this poem right here is called The Making. And you have to make yourself before you make anything else. The reason being, if you make that relationship, make that money, make that career, make those friends, you can still lose your life like Robin Williams or Ellen's DJ or all those other people who made career, made money, made fame, made all the things you think you want to make. You got to make yourself solid first. You have to be secure. You have to be self-developing. You have to be supportive. And those 3 things will actually strengthen you in what you're making. So this poem is called The Making, and it's from my book, Let's Get Mactivated. All right. On the axis of life, guide your way to stay true to form. X stands for what you have special beyond the norm. And why? Y stands for the reason you were born. So decide what you're going to make. Life is 10% the fate you're giving, 90% how much you're driven, glued together by a touch of vision. Because the road to success is under construction. So use drive and pay attention to when the signs change. Because it's constant detours defining your lane. Your destination is your true intention, but oh yeah, it's true. Intentions are just thoughts. And thoughts may be unseen, but thoughts, when caught, become things. You think trouble and pain and chains appear along with fear like you're the only one here. You think success and greatness and access to the sacred matrix can come clear. Because whatever you look for, you will see. Whatever you search, you will find and locate. So realize the ball is in your court to face. The goal is yours to create. The top of the key is your destiny. Continue to rebound from fate. But understand that you miss every shot that you don't take. So why wait? It's time to decide what you're going to make. Look, don't let walls Jericho you. Don't let doubt Pharaoh you from your call. Don't let fear Goliath you. Look how all of them fail after standing tall, and recognize everything between you and your purpose will fall. So brace yourself. Understand that you were built to amaze through this maze of stress. And when you amaze yourself, understand that's proof of God from the core. You got great in store. But if you are ungrateful for what you got, why should God bless you with more to be ungrateful for? So break, cannot send the cans, make dreams and the plans, and take failure as a lesson and learn well, because most of what you try will fail, but all of what will fail, stop to try. Consider what you would do if this was your last 24 hours to live, because where the power is knowing you got to plot your time. This is the type of passion you pull close. So decide what you're going to make. There's no too old, too hard, too late, too disadvantaged, too poor, too prone to mistakes. But there are second wins, second times around, and second chances, the power beyond the pain. I don't ask a child what they want to be. I ask them what they want to change. Don't bury your calling. Plant those seeds where you stay true. So when you find the grind and break through, you will see the shine you deserve to embrace you, the divine that makes you. Are you just going to accept or be exceptional? A doer, a giver, a thinker, an achiever. Cut those chaos keepers, but bond with believers. Stop asking yourself who's going to let you be great when the question is, who can dare stop you? Be persistent. Decide whether you're going to make excuses or a difference. Know the X and Y of your existence. Are you going to make excuses or make a difference? Because your destiny is to be great. All history should know your name. Hold on through doubt. Be strong. Please know your destiny is great. My name is LaRon McAdoo. Keep cooling. Thank God. Be about kicking live. Hold tight and do right and try your best to survive. Now we got the bonding of the sexes. Yeah.
What's up? What it do? Time for another episode of the Intellectual Stew with yours truly, James Kirkland. And we are here for the Bonding of the Sexes 2. We did it in March and we're getting ready to do it again. And we're doing it in front of a live audience. Let me hear y'all make some noise, please. What was that, McAdoo? What number was that, McAdoo?
That was about 8.
8, okay.
8.
Okay, give me 110 then. What was that? Give me one more time. Yeah, that was a 10. All right, so we're doing a podcast in front of a live audience tonight, and a lot of people came out to because they want to bond the sexes. We hear so much about the battle of the sexes. Every time you turn around, they're battling 50-50 relationships. We're talking about all these different things that just don't really matter, as opposed to trying to bond the sexes. So what I've done tonight is I've assembled some people that have common goals, common ideas, and we've come tonight to try to come up with some solutions. And I've learned that 65 out of 100 mental health professionals say that the biggest problem in the breakdown of relationships is poor communication. So what we're trying to do now is figure out some effective ways to communicate. So what I've done is I've asked Phoenicia Mosley, she's a therapist here in Little Rock, Arkansas, to come on with me and talk about some rules for communication. Phoenicia, you know, for the last month since our last podcast, I've been doing this segment on the love languages.
Right.
And I'm adamant about the fact that my love language is words of affirmation. And so And my contention is, my thought is that you can't use the same words the same mouth to build me up with to tear me down.
Absolutely.
And the thing about it, as a man, if you talk to me a certain way, I stop listening.
Right.
And it's kind of like Charlie Brown's teacher.
Womp womp.
Yeah, Charlie Brown's teacher. Whenever he talked, all you heard was womp 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 womp.
Right.
And my thing is, I want my partner to understand that. Okay? Because if my partner understands that, then she'll understand. And I understand things about her as well. There's give and exchange.
Right.
I mean, there's exchange, there's fair exchange. I get it. But if you know that's my love language, and you know that I'm going to respond or I'm not going to respond, then how do we make that adjustment? And what you suggested on the show that night is that there should be certain rules.
Rules of communication.
So explain
absolutely.
that to the audience. What kind of rules in those situations?
So rules of communication is a way for couples, even friends, but we're talking about intimate relationships because we're talking about bonding the sexes. So you want to be able to fight fair. You want to be able, in order for your relationship to grow from the stages of, and hopefully you end up in marriage, you have to know how to engage each other fairly in communication. Fairly.
Okay.
And so if your love language is words of affirmation, I like how you smell today.
I do.
Oh my goodness, anytime I smell that scent, you just pop in my mind.
Are you being serious right now, or are you just using an example?
That's an example.
I was like, I give my phone number.
You need to take me seriously.
No, I'm just joking. No, because somebody else gave me an example of me. Gave me a compliment on the cologne as well. No, I'm joking.
But mine is quality time.
Okay.
So if yours is words of affirmation and mine is quality time, then how do we mesh those together? Because we're talking about bonding, right?
Yeah. And the key is communication.
Right.
Now.
So if we communicate, because you communicate through your love languages,
yeah.
you have to communicate, how do I reach you?
Yeah. And here it is, though, because you sent me some notes, and you said something that I think needs to be understood as well. All communication is not verbal.
Absolutely.
And so just because a person's not speaking doesn't mean they're not communicating.
And they're not saying something loud and clear.
And so I'm of the contention, OJ, that life lends lessons. We consider the clues. So if we're in a partnership, relationship, we're getting to know each other, and you see how I respond, or likewise, because it's not all about me, don't get me wrong.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but if you see how I respond to certain things, you look at what happened last time.
And you learn from it.
And you learn from it. And vice versa, I do the same thing for you. Because one thing about me is I don't like conflict. I just don't. I don't like it.
But you still have to deal with it.
You got to deal with it, but I don't want to fight nobody.
And
I'm
it's
supposed
inevitable.
to love.
And in relationships, I think that people have to understand and realize that conflict is inevitable. It's what you do when you find yourself in that place of conflict.
But for conflict to you might not be conflict to somebody else, though.
Communication.
Because if somebody was raised, and I'm talking to somebody, well, it is, we just talking. If somebody was raised in a dysfunctional home, right, where talking loud was the norm, you know what I'm saying? And you bring that mess to my house.
Ain't going.
It ain't going.
It's not happening. Because you shut down. That's Charlie Brown. As soon as you raise your voice, it will be Charlie Brown. I'm an only child, so my house was quiet.
Yeah.
And so when you raise your voice, all I hear, I'm looking at you, but all I hear is, well, until you bring it back down. Then I hear you.
Yeah.
I don't hear yelling.
And you know what?
And that's a nonverbal.
That's a nonverbal.
That's communication. Because if I have this glazed over look.
Yeah, I can read that. I mean, can y'all read that? What did that sound like? It was loud too, wasn't it? But she didn't say a word. Didn't have to. But I think if we're sensitive enough
to be aware.
Here it is, emotional awareness and management. So I'm noticing, and this is the thing, but here it is, Phoenicia. In that moment, that person has to be honest. Because if I say what's wrong, nothing. Y'all ever experienced that?
And emotional awareness is understanding your emotions as well as others.
Hold on. So she said emotional awareness is what?
Understanding your emotions as well as others.
Okay. Now listen, if there's a point in this conversation where you have a question, you want me to ask a question, get my attention, and I'll involve you in it, okay? Because we're talking, this is a dialogue here, but we're all growing together. Does that make sense? So if there's something that you want to express, I'm sorry I don't have a handheld for you right now, but let me know, and we'll make sure your question gets asked. I know this young lady here is going to ask about 12 questions in a few minutes. Okay? All right, so let's get back to this whole. So, but real talk. So we start talking 13, okay. So we're talking about, where am I? So we're talking about verbal and nonverbal communication
and emotional awareness.
So let's talk about some rules. Okay. So give me a definite rule they can leave with tonight that would help them. Because if we're gonna leave here, we want to leave with something portable. Okay.
A rule would be to avoid shutting down.
Okay.
Which you kind of alluded to that just a moment ago. Well, I did that. Avoid shutting down. If you find that one person is arguing, the other person has shut down, one or both of you should be able to pick up on that and to take a pause.
Okay.
You take a pause because if the conversation is escalated, it's not going to go anywhere.
Yes.
It's not going anywhere. So there's no need to keep yelling louder, thinking that you're going to get the other person's attention.
Yeah.
So if you can use a code word,
okay.
You can use a code symbol.
Okay. Give me an example of a code. Y'all heard what she said? Use a what? Code word.
It could be flashlight.
Okay.
The person who's escalated, if you hear the word flashlight, it's to say, okay, we doing too much. We gotta, let's go to our separate areas. And your separate, one could be the bedroom, the other one could be the garage. But you have to have an understanding of we have to come back. And a lot of couples, and when they're arguing, they don't come back.
Okay.
And so what's the identified time that we're gonna agree to come back to that neutral, safe place within the home to continue the conversation?
Okay.
And we talk like we're talking now.
Gotcha.
Take ownership of your emotions, avoid being defensive, and stay focused on what is the topic at hand.
Gotcha. Okay, so she says take a time out. That's good. I like that. So when things start to escalate, start to bubble over, to boil over, that's a good place to take a time out. Things sound different in 5 minutes. The whole tenement changes in 5 minutes. It just really does. But this is another one I read earlier today when I was doing my own little research. I didn't tell you I did something, but I did. Another thing they said we can do is use I statements instead of you statements. Does that make sense? So,
what do you think you hear?
Yeah.
What's the difference in what you hear when you use I statements versus you?
Now I'm taking ownership.
That's key.
So if I use an I statement, because you statements have a way of creating aggression because you're putting somebody in a defensive. If I start pointing only what you do, instead of how I see myself in that situation. And when I start using an I statement, now I move from being a passive listener to an active listener.
But here's an example too.
Okay.
If I'm talking to you and I'm like this.
You got to get your finger out my face.
Do you see what I'm saying?
I'm for real now. Stop.
If I'm talking like this.
Told you.
So a nonverbal.
Yeah. That wouldn't work well with me.
But I understand
Yeah.
that I hurt your feelings when I said,
Yeah.
I don't like you hanging out with other women like that.
Okay.
I'm taking ownership of my feelings,
Yeah.
right? Instead of why you always with them and all up in their face. Another rule of communication: be mindful of your facial expressions and body language.
Okay.
Because you see me getting in your space.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me.
No, that's not gonna work with me. I mean, it's not. Does that work? Do y'all don't do that, do y'all?
It's shut down. You're gonna shut down again. I'm gonna shut down if you get in my face.
Yeah. So in those moments where because the way I'm viewing this is things have escalated and we're trying to get back to a place of de-escalation. So we take that time out, we start using I statements because at the end of the day, I think what we're trying to do is seek common ground.
And grow.
And grow. Because for me, this is the thing. I don't understand how somebody that we used to really, really like, how we go to disliking them so much.
Where did it break down?
How did the communication break down, and how did it get that bad? Where we're hateful now, we don't like each other, we're not amicable now. You know, how did it get that bad? You feel what I'm saying? And so, but I see it because people talk about their exes, man, and it's pathetic.
I can't stand him.
I can't. Yeah.
Ooh, he get on my nerves.
I mean, to see this, would you rather have $1 million or would you rather send your ex? I'm like, seriously?
Right.
You know, I don't hate her that much. You know, I don't hate her that. You know, but the thing, you know, how can you hate somebody that you used to
love so much?
Love so much. But that's where we are. But I think that's part of my problem. Like Pastor Sharon, I can't talk to a woman like that. Like calling you out your name, talking down to you, and cussing you out. I just can't, not nobody I'm supposed to like. I do that for people in the streets. You know what I'm saying? Somebody I don't really know, you know, but somebody I love. So I think, you got a question? Come on.
I think people are in that place because they lose respect.
St. James.
You said lose respect.
Talk a little loud. You said you think people get to that place. Raquel is talking. She said she thinks people get to that place because they lose respect for each other. Okay. And you know what? Real talk, this is what real talk, familiarity breeds contempt. It breeds contempt because you're around somebody. So why you start looking like, I can't stand the way she comb my hair. Why she got to brush her teeth like that? She got to brush all 32 teeth. She can't brush 25 at one time, then 7 on another day. You just start finding things you don't like about people because familiar. That's why you have to keep it open. You have to keep it fresh. You have to date each other. You have to nurture. OJ, you said something the other night, I believe it was. We're constantly evolving, even in a relationship. If you're in a relationship, you're not the same person in year 1 that you'll be in year 5.
Absolutely.
And then in year 5, you're not going to be the same person you're going to be in year 10, right? Here's the problem. This is the mistake, I believe. A lot of us look at their marriage
and say you want that.
But
don't know. You don't.
But if it took 20 years to get that, you didn't take the 19 years of heartache to get to that.
Right.
Somebody's talking. Talk louder. You talk. Huh?
Everyone puts on the vision for the outside persona. So, you know, what you think is good that you want may not be that.
And you might be assuming it's good though. They might, you know, listen, let me tell you something. I don't know, this conversation's going this way anyway, I don't care. But this is the thing here. Just because you assume a thing is the way it is don't mean that's how they even view it as it is. How they're acting it like it is. You know what I'm saying?
They're showing you what they want you to see.
Yeah, people, but now it ain't even that they're showing you what they want you to see. You just looking.
But true.
They just living. Because who advertises their wounds?
No one.
I mean, who walk around with a ribbon on a sword and say, "Let me advertise my wound"? Nobody does that. That's why y'all holler this whole bull stuff, and I said bull stuff because I don't want to cuss tonight. But y'all advertise this whole bull stuff about the representative. Almost did it. Everybody says a representative. So everybody is going to send a representative up front. I don't care who you are. Sharon, if you go on a date, are you going to go out with rollers on? Are you going to put that White House coat with flowers on and some pink? Yeah, but that's who you are at the house. That's who you are most of the time. But you want to be something, but you didn't have a representative. Okay, never mind. That wasn't the conversation. So anyway, we was talking about. So with these,
you shared something, and I just want to share how real this is.
Okay.
What you're talking about, because I had a session earlier this morning, a family session with a young lady, and she has been wanting to have a healthy relationship, and so she came. Not dressed down, but casual to her session today.
Okay.
And she was like, with my new boyfriend, it's going so good. She was like, but he'd like for me to dress up. And I was like, well, what's dress up? Because I've only seen her casual. She said, I got to put lashes on. I have to put makeup on. I have to keep my nails done. I have to get my feet done. And I was like, are you comfortable doing that? And she said, no. She said, but I do it for him because that's what he likes. Mm-hmm. That's what he likes. That's how he likes to see me. And I said, well, is there a compromise? And first she said no. Then she thought about it and she said, well, actually, yeah, because I like to go out. And he's a homebody. And I was like, so that is kind of like a compromise, isn't it? And she said, well, yeah, now that you say it, yeah, that's a compromise. And I said, so this is what you want if you want this relationship. And she said, well, yeah, I get it. So the part of you saying when you're mate, what are you doing to reach them? How do you compromise if it takes you out of your comfort zone? Because sometimes in order to get comfortable, you're uncomfortable. Yeah. And her mom was there, and her mom said, I think the more that she does it, she'll like it. And she said, yes. She said, because when I'm cute, I'm cute. And I said, let me see a picture. And she was proud to pull out her phone and say, this is when we went here. This is when we went here. And I was like, you doing it. So when if you want to invest in your relationship with your mate, what are you willing to do?
Yeah. And the key thing is that, and that scenario to me is you said you're going to invest in your relationship with your mate. That means outside entities really don't.
And this is a 7-month relationship.
Yeah, because somebody else will come and say, girl, why you got to put all the clothes on for him? That means you ain't doing this for you. Da, 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 da. Ain't none of your business.
And he's patient and waiting. Yeah.
And he's compromising because he don't like to go out.
And he gives her words of affirmation.
Yeah.
You look good. And she said, that makes me feel good. And she doesn't look at it as work.
Gotcha. Well, I like that. So if we're gonna walk away with 3 rules tonight, for this portion of the conversation, first thing is when things start to escalate, what we're gonna do? Who said that? That's my partner right there. He said we're gonna take a break. In other words, we're gonna take a time out. Another thing we're gonna do in those scenarios, we're gonna learn how to use I statements. So we won't put people on the defensive by saying you. Right? Give me an example. Somebody give me an example of an I statement.
I feel like you're not understanding.
She said, I feel like I'm not understanding what you're trying to say. Give me another example. KJ, you got one for me too? Okay, cool. Somebody else give me an example. He talk to y'all, he won't talk to me. That's fine though. No man. Next one. Take time. Use the I statements. Then the third one is learn how to seek common ground. I think it's good if we can connect around what attracted me to you.
Go back and revisit it.
Go back and revisit it. What was it? Because the truth is, I was only attracted to the representative or what I met on person.
The real person's going to show out.
Because I need to see you in the rollers eventually.
I'm cute in my rollers when I put them in my hair.
Because I'm petty, I break up with you.
Right. Because you want to see you. No, here's the thing. You want to see the real person.
Yeah, I do. So that's good. So we talked about the verbal communication. We talked about nonverbal communication. We talked about emotional awareness and management. But give us some examples of questioning.
So questioning is, someone said it earlier, if you're not clear of what the other person is presenting or what the other person is saying, how do you ask that question to make sure that you're clear so you understand? Because a person's perception, what I may have said to you, how you received it may have been different. And so asking the right questions to be able to play on a level field.
And that requires a certain level of confidence, because at that point, what you're doing is you're asking people to answer open-ended questions.
And I have an example. I took some notes from some couple session and some of their phrases and their rules of communication, because this is homework that they get in their first or second session. And under questioning, some of them said, not everyone communicates like you. Understand you may be saying things differently. That's questioning. Okay. Another one is you have to be more open when listening and processing. And this is what one spouse is saying to another when they're writing down their rules of communication. So this is raw data. Finishing the conversation, timely communication of issues and feelings, and acceptance of answers and feedback. If you don't understand what I'm saying, let me know, but also give that person time to clarify. Let me know you're listening. That can also be a nonverbal, and break things down where I can understand.
Gotcha. All right. So y'all, we've learned 4 forms in this first segment. We've learned on the rules of communication. We've learned 4 different types of communication. That's verbal, nonverbal, emotional awareness, and management, and questioning. And we've come away with 3 rules. Take a time out, use I statements, and learn how to seek common ground. I believe that if we, as a people, would focus wholeheartedly on communicating it, then we can start to correct some of the problems. Because so many of us are stuck on start right now. And we'll never get out of the blocks until we learn how to communicate and talk to each other, right? So that's the goal with this, is we got to learn how to communicate. Now listen, as I close out every segment, I always say the first thing. I say the world is changing. But my question for you is, why do you remain the same? We'll be right back. What's up? What it do? Time for another episode of the Intellectual Stew with yours truly, James Kirkland. I am so happy to have OJ and Veronica Newbern with us today. Yeah. Now OJ, that clap, that's cool. That's a good time. OJ is a native son of Little Rock, Arkansas, and so is Veronica. And they so happen to now live in Rockford, Illinois. But things worked out where OJ and his wife, of course, where they were able to be here this weekend. Because I reached out to you, because I was trying to think, who should I get? You know, because we had a good one last time. Alfred and Roz Warren were good.
They were awesome.
They were awesome. And I'm like, who can I get? You know, because I wanted the right people. And I went in your inbox, I believe, and I said, OJ, if you were in town, I would get you. You said, when is it? I said, May 4th. He said, well, I will be in town that week. I'm doing Bishop's. I said, okay, well, cool. Will you come? He said, yeah, let me check with my wife. And if it works out, yeah, we'll be happy to come. And so we got it worked out, and I appreciate you for that. Yeah. I appreciate that. So we had a conversation on Tuesday night, I believe it was, and we kind of got things kind of going. And we learned that OJ is on his second marriage. What is different about the second marriage versus the first one?
Wow.
Let's start like that.
That's a great question. First of all, thank you for having us. This is an awesome venue and setting for us to even discuss our relationships. You know, a lot of people are private, and so this takes a lot of courage to talk about relationships. So thank you for having us. Mm-hmm. What's different? I think there's much more pressure because you got to get this right. And particularly if you're in the public eye, you know, divorce represents to many failure. Okay. And people don't want to go back down that road again because it's a lot emotionally, financially, that just physically, it takes a toll on a person. So I think starting out, there was tremendous pressure that you got to get this right. Wow. Because in the eyes of the public, you know, you only get a couple of chances or so.
Now, so you're saying, and I let you know I'm homiletical in my hearing.
Yeah.
So if you said that you got to get this one right. Yes. And obviously you got the first one wrong.
Yes.
Okay. So with the first getting it wrong, what did that look like? I mean, was it immaturity?
Well,
was it, talk to me.
I wouldn't say, and I wouldn't say relationships you got it wrong per se, or in my first relationship. I think sometimes people just go down two different paths, mm-hmm. and you're at different stages of your life where you desire something, and the other person may not be willing to provide it, mm-hmm. or you just have different outlooks on what you want in life that cause irreconcilable differences. Like literally, you are on two ends of the spectrum, and you're not willing to work together to meet it. So it doesn't necessarily mean that it was a failure in that sense. I have 2 children, birthed from my first marriage. So it was by far not a failure in that sense. I think we are creatures of, particularly men, we want perfection. We want everything that we touch, business-wise, relationships, to work. Mm-hmm. And it didn't work. It didn't work towards the end. And that was difficult. It took a while to get through that. But again, I'm grateful I was afforded another opportunity. You know, that my heart wasn't so shattered to the point that I couldn't love again, and battered that I couldn't love again.
Now you said something that I want to hone in on, because one of the principles I teach, and I learned from my mistakes as well, because I failed as well. But I teach that we have to learn how to manage growth. Because one thing about growth is inevitable, right? Growth is gonna always happen. You're either gonna grow up, you're gonna grow apart, you grow in different directions, you know, you grow, growth is always happening, right? That's why when they plant roses, they purposely put them inside of a box, because they know they grow wild. So if you put them in the box, it'll manage the growth and let it grow in the confinements of the box, right? And so even with relationships, you have to manage that growth. And if you have to put a box around it to control the growth, that's what you do. Veronica.
Yes.
What do you think, because you had to marry him. You had to take the past and all that other stuff and take him where he was. What do you see that he's doing to manage your growth of yours, the growth of your relationship?
I think he's patient.
Okay.
I think he's taking the opportunity
Hold on.
to
Y'all see how she
listen.
looked at him? Was she looking for a proof? No, she's gonna say, no, go ahead, I'm joking with you. Go ahead.
I think just being patient and taking the opportunity to listen and take me slow, because it was a lot for me to enter into this marriage for a whole lot of different reasons. So I think being patient and allowing me to grow and take it slow was helpful.
Because she told me no 3 times.
3 times?
Yes.
3 times?
Yeah, at least it was 3 times.
3 times.
3 times.
Cause I used to stop after the first no. But no, I'm joking. She's fine.
okay.
No, she's fine about it too. But y'all didn't hear that. But they're here on camera. But so, are you intentional about managing the growth now?
Yes.
Okay.
I think what's different with our relationship is we've experienced tremendous success.
Okay.
And I think it's a little bit different. You know, couples, we go through those struggles, you know, with facets of our life and things like this. But there's not a lot of couples that really deal with a lot of success. Like, what do happen when your education takes off, your jobs, your career, and things like that, like, takes off, and you don't necessarily, you bypass a lot of the struggle stages and things that people go through. So we've been managing success. We've been managing busy. We're busy. We're productive. We have a lot of responsibilities. So that's how we try to manage, you know, working, you know, 10-hour days and things like that, or traveling back and forth, and like, how can we
I
make
hear
this
all
work?
that sounds good.
Yeah.
I ain't cutting you off, but I just did. But busyness is cool, but business is something else.
Yeah.
And I can hear you being busy, you know, she at work and you
Yeah.
traveling and y'all
Yeah.
doing revivals and all. But when I'm talking about the stuff behind the scenes,
Yeah.
the substance, not the, because see, people have, there's a difference between the symptoms of success and the substance of success. And so we can have the symptoms of success and drive the nice car, wear the right clothes, have the right bank account. Those are all symptoms of success. But when the rubber meets the road and it's time for the substance,
Yeah.
do we pray together?
Yeah. Yeah.
Do we have those in-depth conversations?
Yeah.
Can she read your body language? Likewise, can you read her body language? When she comes home from work and she's had a bad day, if she needs to decompress, do you recognize? Those are the things, you understand what I'm saying? Because I ain't gonna lie, it all sounds good for the gram.
Yeah.
The colloquial expressions are great.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? All that's good, but when you got to go home and look at it with the roller, you wear roller, but when you got to go home and, you know what I'm saying, and that's when it gets real.
Right.
Or when he's had to counsel the family that just lost a 12-year-old daughter.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm being hypothetical. And that's his pastoral job. Right. But you got to minister to him at home. You understand what I'm saying? How do those moments look?
Yeah. Those moments are just like any other moments. They're very contentious.
Okay.
They are contentious. But I like our communication is good. It's not the best. But I think we soar in is the communication where words aren't necessary.
Okay, nonverbal.
You know, yes, like sometimes words get in the way of people trying to express what they truly mean. And so what I challenge couples, a lot of them, is sometimes we just talk too much and we think that's gonna fix it.
I don't like all that talk.
When you actually need to get in, we need to work on not the communication, work on your network and your infrastructure so that when you can sit down together, oh, he ain't got to tell me. She ain't got to tell me she had a bad day. I just know it.
Gotcha.
Like we got all of those interferences out of the way where we can really feel each other and be in sync together instead of just talking about it. I think couples talk too much and
hold on.
don't think together.
I'm gonna ask Artis a question. Hold on, I got to say. Listening to them talk, what do you think his love language is? Huh? Huh? Guess. There ain't no right or wrong answer. What do you think his love language is based on what he's saying? Communication and a love language. Acts of kind. Okay, hold on. Acts of kind. What's your love language? Acts of service, I mean.
No.
What's your love language?
What's my love language?
Words of affirmation.
Words of affirmation? Okay. Can you see that? But he said his love language is words of affirmation, but you say words ain't important.
No, I'm saying.
No, but not as if you say, but it has to be the right word.
Right.
Okay. So all the
But
extra
he's
talk.
saying but I think what he was saying.
Break
too,
it down
though,
for us, girl. Shit, come for your man, then I hear you.
In the heat of trying to communicate, whether it be argument or figuring out how his day went, words aren't important. Because
Okay.
if I come home and I can read and feel him, I should know or sense how his day went. So I shouldn't use all these words and say, how was your day? Did you do this? Is it okay?
Oh yeah. Now
I like that question. How's my day?
Give me a hand, bro. Okay. I see that because that's sometimes I don't want to talk.
Yeah,
But
I don't
he do.
want to relive that again.
Yeah.
Particularly, you know, in our line of work. Can we talk? We don't want to talk. I don't want to talk about the day. I want to talk about the night. I want to talk about.
Well, sometimes I might not want. And hear me well, sisters. Yeah. Hear me, sisters, even in the back. Y'all listening? Hear me well. Sometimes we don't want to talk. Ooh. Sometimes, let me tell you something. Woo. Sometimes Mr. Charlie get on your nerves so bad. Woo. Y'all don't know who Mr. Charlie is, do you? Sometimes, and the weight of the world, and pressure being a black man in this world, all those things. And when we got to come in, sometimes we need 10, 15, 20, 30 minutes just to decompress. Yeah. And you'll watch a transformation because once we get the shower, once we go upstairs, once we decompress, then all of a sudden, now I'm ready to go.
That's right. I'm going to clap for you, Kurt.
You gonna clap for me? Because I've seen it happen before where you walk in the house, all of a sudden she'll say, you don't feel like talking today? You don't hear me talking to you? No, it don't happen to me because I wouldn't take her. I've seen other people do that. But that's real talk. So I asked the question the other day, I said, does quality time matter a lot of time? It's quality time, it says a lot of time. So same thing with words of affirmation. It's not a lot of words, it's the right words.
At the right time.
At the right time. What's your love language? What's her love language?
She touch.
Come on, I'm finna say. Okay.
She said I was gonna say. This no karate. she said. So your love. So do you make sure you love her on her love language? Touch.
Now that's a struggle for me.
Okay.
Because I'm not a kind of to the degree that she desires.
Okay.
I mean, I'm affectionate.
Yeah.
But just again, where we kind of our lives kind of intersect, she desires more.
Does she express that verbally?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I do.
Oh yeah.
So when she does it, how does it make you feel?
Well, it makes me feel like, you know, I got to do more. I got to figure out how.
Does it make you feel inadequate?
No.
Okay.
No.
So you know you're capable of it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And you know he's capable of it. Mm-hmm. So you're trying to hold him to a standard.
I know he's capable. I think he comes from a background of just not being touchy-feely. Like, I don't know if he did that a lot in either previous marriage or his family. Like, my family is a touchy-feely family. Like, I like to hug, I like to touch, I like to feel. And he just never really did that. So I think it's taking him a little minute. He coming along, but He gonna work on that though.
Felicia, so how do you handle that?
Compromise. It takes a little bit goes a long way. So to hear the other person and what they desire and to put forth effort, Mr. OJ, to try some of the things that she says, especially let's say on date night. If you have a specific date night, then on date night put forth more effort to touch. Because we're talking about that's her love language and you want to be able to reach her.
So what would you like to see him do that he's not doing?
I like simple stuff. You can just come by, touch my butt, touch my arm, like any touch. If you touch my hand,
Y'all grown. I know anybody never touched y'all butt before. Y'all butt been touched.
it could be simple.
But she says I only do that. I only engage when it was time of intimacy.
And do.
What's the difference between intimacy and intercourse? Reverend?
Well,
that's too much information. Let's stop. We grown though.
Yeah, he engages in physical touch when it's that time to be intimate. In between times, we don't get as much physical touch.
How long you been married?
Be 9 years.
You got to fix that one, bro. I'm just playing. I can't say nothing about that.
But I'm not saying I'm lacking either. I feel like he
Hold on, here we go. This is key and critical what she's saying right now.
I'm not saying that he's lacking or deficient. Like, I'm not saying he's inadequate. I think we do it, but I think it's always something that could be improved.
And let's understand this as well. Marriage has evolved. Y'all are only 9 years in.
Oh, yeah.
Let's think about a 9-year-old's in the 4th grade. What can a 4th grader really do for himself? He might have a key by now, you know what I'm saying, and come in and open the door and get a Lunchable out of the refrigerator. But you're growing at a certain stage, right?
Right.
I use Avery Thompson for an example all the time. Avery Thompson is one of my favorite guests that comes on my show. He's been married 32, 33 years. I asked Avery when did he figure it out. He said year 18.
Yeah.
18 years in is when he figured it out. So if you're 9 years in, you know, somebody like, well, how you been married 9 years and he knows she like that? He's learning. Yeah. Because as we grow, Paul says we die a little bit every day. So as we die to something every day, we start to live to something else. And as we evolve, we learn to pick up those new habits. Now she's saying maybe he wasn't hugged enough. Maybe he did not get the affection he deserved. Maybe mama didn't pull him in the side and do all this thing, all those things. And if those are the case, that's her being empathetic enough and loving him enough where he is, but not only seeing where he is, but she's seeing where she wants him to be. And when she sees where she wants him to be, that whole little span and space is called potential. And the problem is a lot of us don't know how to invest in potential because we don't get it the way we want it right away because we live in a society that's so filled with instant gratification. You know what I'm saying? That you can put microwave popcorn in a minute and a half, you got a whole bag of popcorn. You know what I'm saying? And so go ahead.
I was just gonna say something too, and I'll say even on my part too, because I know I could do better in words of affirmation as well. I'm not a big talker. Like I'm very shy, quiet. So I think speaking just in general, I never was a person just to talk much. So me improving on the words of affirmation, I could do better in that too.
Did y'all see that? That was called what? I statement? She did an I statement? She did a compromise? What if we did those in our relationships? Without having to ask. She publicly just said, because she saw me because he wasn't doing his own. She said, but she said, let me throw my husband a lifeline right quick. Now I could do a little bit better. No, yeah, I get it. So now, and that's what we've been really dealing with. We've been dealing with these love languages, and we really, because what the guy, what's his name, Dr. Chapman? Gary Chapman, when he talks about the love languages, he says that we all have love tanks. Mm-hmm. And those love tanks are like gas tanks. Mm-hmm. And the love tanks need to be filled. And when they're empty is when we act out. So if you need words of affirmation, and you don't need a lot of words, because I'm like you, I don't need to talk a whole lot, because sometimes when you start after a certain why, I don't hear it. But I need to hear the right words. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Vice versa.
At the right time.
At the right time. Mm-hmm. Because you put that part in that
Ain't it?
Yeah. Why? It's some personal to that story. What is the story, please?
It's because anytime we have a conversation about something and I want to say something or bring up something, he'll say, it's okay if you say it, you just gotta say it at the right time. So I gotta figure out what time I can say it and not say it, and I gotta remember when I can come back.
Because sometimes, you know what, timing is important, but tone is also important.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And timing, tone, tenement, you know what I'm saying? All those things make a difference because it just does. And if we're really desirous of creating effective communication, then we want the atmosphere to be conducive for effective communication, right? If the atmosphere is not conducive, then what are we talking for?
Right.
It's like, because one thing about me, I always use the analogy, I have asthma, so I don't want to waste my breath. I do. So I'm not just, what are we talking for? If it's not productive conversation or intentional conversation, because in communication, you got the sender, that's the person talking. You got the receiver, that's who he's talking to. Then you have a medium, right? And then there's a channel. And you use the medium, which is the medium method, whether it be text messages, whether the medium be a verbal communication, whether it be not, whatever the medium is, I got to get it through this channel so that they understand. And guess who's responsible for the communication? The sender. If the person that's listening doesn't understand, it's not their fault that they don't understand. We were talking downstairs a minute ago. Habakkuk said what? Write the vision, make it plain, so that they who see it might what? Run with it. If we don't write it, if we don't make it plain, how are they going to run with it? And so, and I think so many times we get it, well, you don't understand what I'm saying. Well, you didn't make it plain. You didn't break it down. You didn't, and if you can't say it, type it. If you can't type it, if you text it. If you can't text it, save it for tomorrow or something. But you know, I'm just joking about that part. But that's the key and critical component. So I get to an extent what he's saying when he says, you know, it might not be the right time because it could be. And if that's the key, if the key is effective communication, then we have to do what's necessary to make that. So do y'all pay attention to the love language, or do y'all just love each other? How do y'all do that whole thing?
We talk about it at times, but we just try to figure it out our own selves. But we do have conversations or pillow talk conversations or check-in. Those are very interesting.
So let's get to this rebound relationship thing. Okay. You got divorced. How long was your mourning period?
Oh.
Dang, he clapping his hands. Do we need a break?
Well,
that's my mama.
I don't believe it was long. It was some months.
Months?
Yeah. Like sometimes a relationship is over before it's over.
How long were you married, the first marriage?
14 years.
Okay.
So I would say some months. And reason being is one of the things too, if you're going through a challenging period, things like therapy, counseling, like do all that you can to salvage the relationship. Do all that you can and do right by that person. If you don't do right by that person, if you don't go talk to someone professional or get counseling, it stunts and it prohibits you from the next phase of whatever that may be. And so we did all of that. We decided, you know, this has run its course. And so then it was easier, and I'm saying it in this sense, it wasn't easy, but it was easier because we had a lot of groundwork that was already invested.
Okay.
So yeah, I would say it took some months to get rid of that or close out that. It's just like, you know, it's like military people retiring. It's like you processing. You go through times of processing to get out of something.
While you were still in it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And so that mine might have been different because it was so abrupt. You know what I'm saying? So if you had time to, you saw it coming along, you know.
It's one of those things how you end it and then you go back and say, no, I'm going to try it again.
Okay.
And you go back again and things, you know, you don't get what you thought should have gotten, or the relationship doesn't become fruitful, productive. So at that point, you know, it is an abrupt ending.
Okay.
But truly, it ended a while earlier.
Gotcha.
You know.
So that's why it was easier to move on faster.
Yes.
So is that part of the reason you said no twice?
No, I said no because I didn't want a pastor. I didn't want nobody that had kids. I didn't want nobody who had been married before. I had a whole bunch of reasons why.
Whoa. You changed your list?
Did I change it?
You were flexible on your list?
Yeah. It took a while to become flexible, but
What's a while? How long you chasing?
let's see. Maybe about 5 months, maybe. Maybe 5 months.
Something like that.
That ain't that long. 5 months. She
Ish.
kept saying no, and then you found it. Well, she said no twice. Then on the third one, she finally said yes.
I said no, he just didn't leave.
He just didn't leave, so he was still sticking around the whole time. Where y'all meet at? That's too much.
Church.
Oh, okay. I thought no. Now there's an age difference.
Yes.
How much is the age difference?
9 years.
I'm doing math in my head. Okay, that's cool. So 9-year difference married. So you want, and so there's some.
That was another reason.
That was another reason because he was too. You thought he was too old.
But I thought she was older than she was.
He lying. He lying.
I thought
He
she
knew
was
how
old.
old I was.
I thought she was older than she
He
was.
is a pastor. He's not gonna sit
Thank
here and
you.
lie in front of
Thank
these folk like.
He lying.
He lying. He knew how young you
He
were.
knew how old I was.
I went.
How you not? He graduated with my sister.
I went. I did not know how old she was until I went to her apartment and I saw her diploma and I said, "What?"
And he still stayed.
Listen. OJ and Veronica offer some different dynamics. Number one, he's on his second marriage. He's on his second marriage. She's on her first marriage. He had children from a previous relationship. She didn't have previous relationship. But with all of those differences, they still came together and built a beautiful union. And they're still growing.
Yeah.
Right. So, and then another thing, I didn't even realize, because I did a show a long time ago called Our List Limiting Our Options. Because sometimes I believe we put these Build-A-Bear type lists together, like we want to be 6'4" with curly. You got to have curly hair, and you got to have Indian in his family, and you got to make $300,000 a year, but you don't make but $32,000 a year, and all these different things. But to listen, you understand what I'm saying?
And that is actually true. When we
Hold
first met, even she was working, but then she was trying to get into like medical school. So when we became engaged, she didn't even have a job.
Wow.
She was in school. So be careful. But that's right. Those lists will. And now she makes more I make. So.
You have a problem with that?
Oh, that's another
You
session.
don't try to treat him bad because you make make a muscle.
That's another session.
Your muscle ain't bigger than his because you make more money than him? What? Anybody have any questions before we end this segment up? Anybody have any questions about OJ and Veronica? Any questions? You forgot. I forgot I was supposed to talk to get you a long time ago. My bad. I forgot. She always asks a question. I forgot to go back and get her for her question. I'm sorry. But okay. You talk to somebody, a man who's gone through a divorce, but scared to go forward because he don't want to go through a divorce again.
Yeah.
It devastated him.
Yeah.
So he doesn't. So how does he get out of that state to go ahead and trust again to move forward into a relationship?
I would say, first of all, a lot of people don't like the moniker of the rebound relationship. Rebound relationships are powerful and can be very instrumental to a person's healing and them reconstructing their makeup and their confidence. If you meet the right person at that time, it can catapult you to great heights. But if you meet the wrong person, you can stay in a miry clay and never get out of it and wallow in it. So I would say be very intentional. That's why I continued to pursue her. I was very intentional.
Okay.
Because I knew the type that I would work well with. That's one thing failure will teach you is you should then know who I will work with.
That's good. That's good. That's good. That's good.
And so I knew I needed to have this type of person. And it's just, chemistry and outlooks and your beliefs and value systems in life. And so we were able to go through that. So I would say again, you can score off the rebound. Be patient, but be picky. A bishop told me in the city, he says, when I was going through that period, that single period, he said, if she says yes, she's not the one.
Wow. Woo.
He said, if she says no, that's the one you need to pursue.
Wow.
And so there was been a lot of truth to that with us. We don't have the perfect, and we are certainly not the perfect couple, but we have a functioning relationship that's really productive. We're going through our struggles. We've battled infertility, and we were not able to have a child. That was a whole nother issue, spent thousands of dollars. But it didn't, so far, I get, it's not in our card. So the second time around can be better if you've learned from the first time, and provided that you've changed and your mind, and that you're not bitter.
Okay.
And I say again, God's not gonna bless you with better if you didn't treat the previous with the proper respect and dignity and all of that. And so be careful, because I think people be trying to advance and they still dogging their ex or whatever, and you're not gonna go far with that. So do right, pay your child support or whatever, take care of your kids. If you gotta pay alimony, do all of that, and God will bless you in the end.
That sounds like you were deserving of a relationship at that point then.
Well,
Question for you real quick, and we're gonna go over time. What would you say to someone who's limiting themselves with a list?
I would say throw the list away, because I had a list for a very long time, and the list did not include him or nobody that was close like him. And I feel like he's been a blessing to me, and I've probably been the happiest that I've ever had in any relationship that I had. If I would have went and stuck by that list, I'd probably still be looking for him.
Wow. Wow. That's good stuff. Hey, that's good stuff, man. It really is. Y'all, let's put our hands together again for OJ and Veronica. Thank you for your transparency. Thank you for your transparency. Thank you. I know you said you didn't like to talk, but I appreciate you. We've learned, people have learned. We have, and I appreciate it. So as I always say whenever I end the show, I always say this: the world is changing. My question is for you is, why do you remain the same? We'll be right back. What's up? What it do? Time for another episode of the Intellectual Stew with yours truly, James Kirkland. Listen, we are having a wonderful time tonight. We have been talking about bonding of the sexes. We've had Phoenicia Mosley. We talked about the rules of communication, and then we just had OJ and Veronica Newbern, a couple who he's on his second marriage, she's on her first marriage. We learned a lot of dynamics about their relationship, and that helped, I believe, some other people. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna finish up our last section, what I like to call community conversation, where I have a panel on the panel with me. I have Alicia Allman, I have Jesse Horton, and I also have Raquel Rockins. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna answer random questions here If you have questions in the audience, if you all want to be a part of the conversation, feel free. I have Miss Carol over here mic'd up. Miss Carol, I want to get some of her perspective. She and I have had some good conversations on the phone. So I just ready to have fun, all right? So tonight we've been discussing communication. That's been our big thing. We talk about the importance of effective communication, what effective communication can do for a relationship. It clears up confusion, a whole bunch of different things. So I wanted to talk, because sometimes I think we miss it as it relates to what communication is. So I want to ask this first question to get things started, and then we'll go from there. But Jesse.
Yes, sir.
I don't know if I should ask you first now. I'm going to ask you first. Jesse, is it more important to get your point across or to keep the peace? Because we talk about communication, right? So sometimes in communication, where KJ at? Sometimes in communication, we want to talk because we think communication is talking. But my question is it more important to get your point across or to keep the peace?
To me, it's to keep the peace.
Okay.
We're going to have time later to get the point across.
Okay.
Whereas, if I'm like, I'm going to be right, I'm going to be right. I can be right all the way out the door. But if I'm like, okay, you know what, I feel like she's passionate about this. This is something that is going to take more than 1 second, one particular conversation. I don't want to go to bed angry.
Okay.
We can agree to disagree and come back to it later. I've had situations where that really has come down, even traveling. Let's pull over, cool it down for a little bit, because the peace is more important than what we're trying to convey. Because if we don't have peace, we can't convey what we're thinking.
That's good stuff. What about you, Raquel? Is it more important to keep the peace or get your point across?
I would have to say keeping the peace, because the point itself is oftentimes irrelevant in most cases. You don't want to upset your partner or have your partner feel invalidated because you're trying to drive a point home.
You feel the same way?
I always have so
No, I feel like you can get your point across and keep the peace.
Okay. I mean, and you can.
You can without being disrespectful and keeping in mind, but like I need to express myself. I need you to know how I feel.
And that's the thing, and that's why I wanted to get into this dialogue about, because sometimes people will say, I need to get my point across regardless, because we need to talk now. We need to get it over with now. You know what I'm saying? You probably been there at some point in your life, Now, because as we get older, as we mature, of course, we realize, like, for instance, most men in the room right now will always say the same thing. Just give me my peace. I don't need, for me, two things make a relationship. Can I be grown for a second? Two things make a relationship successful for me. Number one, you give me peace, and number two, you give me a peace.
A piece of what?
Right. That's right there.
A piece.
Real talk. But I hear women now. That'll say stuff like, I've heard it. He need to have his own peace. I don't need to be his peace. Go ahead.
I'm going to be honest with you. The gentleman that's out here, I need my peace. He is the author of the destruction of his peace.
Toxic.
Destruction what?
He is the author of the destruction of his own peace.
How?
The man out there speaking, give me my peace, my peace.
Can I say this?
He is his author.
But can I say this?
Yes.
Well, maybe him, but I'm talking about them. I'm talking about in general. But this is my thing here. When I say that I need you to be my peace, it's not a tangible thing that I'm asking you to be. I'm asking you not to disturb my peace.
Right.
Okay. And honestly, when you have two people that are in tune with one another,
You got to get there.
your peace is my responsibility and my peace is your responsibility, vice versa. However, a lot of the men out there that I'm speaking of that's ringing this peace bell, they are truly the authors of their own destruction of that entire peace that they're looking for.
And I'm not going to...
So we're going to squash that one.
I'm not going to... I don't know about squashing it. I'm not going to say that what you're saying is... Because it might be true. Because peace is relative. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Peace is extremely relative. Because peace for me is totally different than peace for somebody else, right? Like we talked about all of us are products of orientation. All of us are, the way we grew up in our homes. For instance, in my house that I grew up in, it was just me, my sister, and my mother and father. So I had my own bedroom. My sister had her own bedroom. My parents had their bedroom. You know what I'm saying? So, could have bathroom. I mean, didn't have to share. So, wasn't a whole lot of yelling and all that kind of stuff going on. So, peace for me is different. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I can see where
and so,
you're
with
coming
peace
from
being
there.
relative, if a person says, "I need peace," well, what does peace look like?
I think that's individualized.
Yeah, exactly. But then that's where the exploration comes in to find out what peace looks like to that individual. If I want to know.
True.
What do y'all think?
You want to cheat in peace.
Go ahead. Hold on, Miss Karen. I want what?
That's what they be wanting, to cheat in peace.
Oh, okay, hold on. We'll get that in a minute.
That's the piece I was talking about. Right there.
Hold on. Miss Carol, hold on.
Because in my home it was only 3 weeks, and so it was always quiet. And when I'm in the house with others, they're skipping around and jumping around and stuff. And I'm like, okay. I like to read and journal, so I like it quiet where they're most of the time wanting to talk to me. So I've had to learn when I was married to adjust to, okay, this person wants to talk to me. They want my attention. So I have to stop doing what I enjoy doing and pay them some attention and listen to what they're saying.
And like I said, Miss Carol, like me and Miss Carol, we had words on the phone before. I ain't gonna lie. I told Miss Carol, when I first Miss Carol, I said, I don't like you. She said, why? I said, because some of the stuff I think you put out bad.
My page
I did. Am I lying? Did I tell you that?
Right. No one ever comments on my page because I don't ask for comments. I ask you to think, and I ask you to think within.
Yeah.
And so I've had people like him say, one of my friends, co-workers say, your page is start fights. I say, no one even comments on my page. How does my page start fight? She said, we read it and we go in the room and start to fight.
Yeah. but the thing was is that even with that instance with her, I didn't put a period at the end of the sentence. I put a semicolon, and I got understanding because she started calling me and we started communicating and we started understanding each other. And
you did say, I made you angry. But I was speaking the truth.
Oh, no doubt. No. Remember I told you that one girl said she would still be in her relationship if she wouldn't get any advice from you. Now, that's not a negative thing because you made her think. And now don't get me, like you said, you make people think. And so but my point was in that I wanted to make sure that we understand how to be responsible with our influence. And she is. Now, like I said, I didn't understand. And anything we do, we get clarity, right? And the way to get clarity is through a conversation. And that's what I did. I called, I don't know if you called me first, or I called you, I think, whatever happened. She was just on like your platform. And I have a lot of relationships like that. But let me ask the audience as well, and I want y'all to ponder the same kind of question because, and most of y'all are mature. So y'all don't want a whole lot of chaos either, do you? So you're at a stage in your life that you want peace, right? And sometimes there are things, what you saying, Chuck?
Peace begins with yourself.
Okay.
Peace with nobody else.
Okay. Okay.
Now, that other person, they don't have any, they got to find, they can't look for you.
That part.
And that's what I said earlier. Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, peace is not something that just happens. Peace is something that has to be worked at. Peace is something that has to be established. And so I like what she said when she said that for her, peace is quiet. And so when she got married, she had to realize, hey, this person wanted to communicate with me.
Has needs too.
And so she had to step outside of that, which means that she had to maneuver, she had to move, which means she had to disrupt that a little bit.
Yeah.
But she compromised in order for there to be a greater peace in her household. She had to step outside of what she did as role in order to have greater peace in the
I don't know what happened.
And I think, y'all back on the panel, I think what you just said is key because, is because, now Chuck, that's my uncle in the back. You're talking about peace starts with yourself. I get it. But when you're married, half of yourself is your spouse. And I think that's the part that we leave out because a lot of us have not been married. And so because we have not been married, we treat our boyfriends and girlfriends like spouses and treat our spouses like boyfriends and girlfriends. So if you understand that half of you is your spouse, then when they come in and they challenge that peace, it's more of a disturbing of the peace. You feel what I'm saying? And that's what I'm saying. Don't come in and disturb my peace. But hold on.
You got to create peace too.
Well, but they just said peace was created within ourselves.
Yourself with the same peace you demanding, you need to be able to.
Is it demanding?
Or
It's something that a lot of men are
saying.
It's a cliche.
So it's only men that want peace. Women, y'all don't want peace.
Yeah, we do.
So I'll tell
We
you
don't
something.
destroy ours.
And you've seen me. For the last 2 weeks, I've been in front of an easel, just cranking out pictures, and I guess it's always a little bit of exposition here because, I grew up. I was in a split family.
Okay.
And my dad was the absolute bad guy. So when he was gone, I had to stand in place, with 2 women giving me the grief that my dad would have gotten. And so I grew up without a sense of peace.
Okay.
And it was only when I got out on my own and got my own things, owned my own, homes and things, that was the only time I ever felt peace. So with me, my ex got killed.
Wow.
And so, then I'm left with 2 kids that I got to raise on my own. And so I didn't feel like, I guess the same way a lot of women feel. They don't want to just let anybody around their kids and stuff. So I stayed in this protective bubble, protecting my kids. But now that I'm out of it, now that they're grown, they got their own spouses and stuff, it's just kind of weird that I'm just now getting to experience peace because I've always had either a family or a house full of kids that were looking to me for instruction and guidance.
Yeah.
And so now I get to sit there and paint. I don't have to work. I don't have to be bothered with anything. All my bills are on auto pay.
That's different.
And that's peace for me. And a lot of people may not understand that. But for me, the solidity of the ground underneath me. It says in the Bible that a house that's built on sand is gonna shift.
Yeah.
I got tired of shifting.
That's good. That's good. You when he started talking about not finding peace, Raquel, when he started talking about not finding peace until after he got out of his later on after he got out of the house with his mother and sisters, you made a real weird face with the wrinkles in your forehead. What part of that what part of that did you not agree with or did you didn't understand?
It kind of opened up a bubble because, I've kind of communicated with him, a little bit, not a whole lot. But I've never heard him in search of that peace. You know what I mean? And I think the peace in which I've kind of heard a lot of single men talk about is just that woman being docile. Whereas in him, I'm seeing a whole different peace.
That's what men talk about when they say want peace. They want a woman to be docile.
What I mean by that is they want to cheat in peace, pretty much.
I just said that.
They don't
want you.
Put that
go ahead.
thing
You
on
go ahead.
down.
I'm gonna say something. Because you made your statement in a very imperative fashion, and you do that sometimes. Like you said, for a man, his peace is a woman being docile. That's not what I would say.
That's not what I would say.
And that's not what he would say.
I just revealed also in that same
Get that little
revelation
estrogen
that
down.
I saw.
That was
Well, I
better.
mean, you drew it up. Come
Okay,
on, deal with it.
I'm good. I'm good. I can meet you right there. Let's do it.
Come on, deal with it.
I have no problem with
I also admitted within him, I see a different peace.
Yeah, but
he's also not out there advertising the peace in which that he's looking for. So there is a different type of peace in which men are speaking of.
No, I get. But I used to be slow. I ain't slow no more. But I used to be slow. But my point is, just a minute ago, you made an inference, and you said about, and I'm just, because this happens a lot. This happens a lot. Women, some women, I'm not gonna say all, because I don't want to be in that category.
You can talk about this.
Yeah, I know I do that all the time. But some women will operate with a preconceived notion, and the premise is flawed. And then you'll run with that premise and use it as your foundation. For instance, hypothetically, I'm not saying this is absolute, but if you say, and I know you retracted your statement to an extent, but I get it, but it came out of the mouth comes the abundance of the heart. And the power first mentioned is a powerful tool.
Yes.
Okay, but let me just finish my statement. The point is that so many women have that premise and say something about men based on the way they feel, and it's not true. But you'll run with that reality,
You running right now.
My name is, let's name the show.
I mean, but you taking off with a statement,
Intellectual
and you done
stewardship.
took flight. Whether it's James Kirkland or not, you took flight.
Intellectual
I guess
Yeah,
even
with who?
just like for me sitting
James
here,
Kirkland?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to figure out.
just like for me sitting right here in the middle, to hear both of them say, "Oh, he wants to cheat in peace."
It's not every man.
I have
but
never-
That's a very absolute statement. You just said
Not
both
every
of y'all
man.
said
Not
no,
every man.
Not every man, but you said
But
it
a lot
right.
of them, the ones that saying,
I've never-
"Be my peace." He
Hold on,
is-
let him finish his point. What were you gonna say?
I've never cheated on a woman.
Oh, you so great.
Well, I can't tell that lie.
I've never. I've been in a bunch of relationships.
That ain't my testimony. I can't
and
tell that
for
lie.
me,
That is not my testimony.
I've been.
Oh Lord,
I've been in relationships where
not
the
my
woman
testimony. I'm just
was cheating.
But no, and I'm not bragging about that. But my point is,
It's beneath me.
Did you
It's
want to
beneath
cheat?
me now.
Did you want to
Different.
cheat in peace?
Is it
No.
not a
Hold on.
reality
Hold
that
on, what?
men and women
no,
both?
I
didn't
never
wanna-
wanted to cheat in peace. That wasn't
But
the
you,
thing.
when you came home later,
didn't
what
wanna
you
talk
want
about
her
I was in
nagging at
turmoil. I was in
you? You didn't
torment.
want, you
wanna
didn't want
talk
her
about
nagging at you where you
It didn't
was
matter if
going
she
on,
did
be
it or
real.
not. It didn't matter if she did it. My conscience did it to me. So I was never peaceful.
Yeah.
But
she
you didn't
didn't
want her
take it.
nagging at
It's a
you
but.
that
I
night.
answered your question, but then it's a but. You
Come
can't
on now.
see, that's the thing. You can't change the narrative to make it fit. I get it. But this all, huh?
Grown people, we understand that when we talking about men and women, okay? When we are talking about men and women, we are not talking about an absolute.
I got you. But this is
Okay.
the thing. This is my
So
thing.
let's
Feels
not.
like it though.
No.
It really does.
Yes.
It feels like that to us
It,
too.
feels like a stand, and I'd never say something in a generalization about a woman.
I don't.
You know, she's this. You know, if she looks like this or she acts like this, she must be. Up
I'd
to
never
this and
do that.
That's not something that I would do.
Can I say something, Jesse, while you saying that?
Yeah.
I have a friend of mine, female friend of mine. Now, over the years, she's called me all kind of names, and they're joking most of the times. You know, I mean, cold mother F, all, you know, just a whole bunch of different names. And the other day, we were talking, and I looked at her, I said, how many names have I called you the last 3 years? She said, none. Not one time have I ever called her out her name. But I've been every adjective in the world.
Yeah, now I cuss.
Does that make sense? And I'm a good cusser.
Understand where
I
that comes
cut.
I can cuss in English, Spanish, and Pig Latin. I promise I can.
I'm a Navy man.
Yeah.
I cuss.
Can we make this though? When we hear things about women,
From
I
who?
don't take it personally if I don't walk in that line.
From who?
From men.
Who?
There are men like on Facebook and on
Do you know him?
social.
Or are you talking about just the influences that I hear talking?
I'm just talking about what we're hearing.
I
We
underst-
hear the same things that y'all hear about how we're not doing this. We don't cook no more. We don't do this. We're hearing it in general. But that don't apply to me because I'll cook for my man, so I don't take it
But
personally.
you're missing. The point I'm making is,
I think saying somebody's wanting to cheat in peace kind of feels a lot worse than saying a woman doesn't cook. I cook. I come from a family that cooks. I can blow anybody out the water cooking.
the point is that these stereotypes that we put on each other, and sometimes we make those statements so general. What'd you say? We make these statements so general. Then you say, well, I wasn't talking about you, I was talking about everybody else.
I'm
You
not
didn't say
saying
that. You did. I get it. I get it. And I'm not just
But
talking.
there are
Hold
those
on.
types.
Hold
There
on.
are
Time out.
those types.
You're sitting on the couch right now, but I'm not only talking about you. I'm talking in general. Okay, about women who do the same thing that you're complaining and saying that they don't do. And you make an absolute statement and put everybody in the category. But when you said people want to cheat in peace, like it was, and all I asked was, is it more? And really, the question was, is it more important to keep? What are we supposed to be talking about?
Okay.
No, wait a minute. Hold on. What are we supposed to be
Are
talking
we
about?
wrapped up in generalization?
No. What are we supposed to be talking about? Communication. But somehow we done got to cheating in peace. All I asked was, is it more important to get your point across or keep the peace?
Well, you brought up the
said it first.
You brought up the
ain't keeping
peace.
the peace, bro.
You brought up the keeping the peace.
Really
Keep the
did.
peace.
All right. All right, so Miss Carol says she understands why Raquel feels the way she feels. I'm talking Miss Carol, not Raquel. Miss Carol.
All right,
Explain
Miss
why you
Carol.
say she feels the way she feels.
Because when you speak of peace, when y'all said that when she was talking about it triggered something in me because most of the time when we're in a relationship, it's manipulated. You want peace, but it's that underlying manipulation. It's something else going on that we can't be quiet because we've been manipulated and we ready to just do the monkey for real, because it's more going on and we're unable to communicate effectively because of the manipulation that's underlying the peace for anything to be effective or to communicate properly.
So it's more important to get your point across than keep the peace.
At that point, yes.
I knew it was gonna be something. Okay.
Well, in a healthy relationship,
Okay.
you know.
I would only want to, but really,
Are we only talking about health?
We need to.
for me,
Because we need to talk
hold
about
on,
the
time out.
unhealthy.
I think I always say that. I don't want to talk about how things are all the time. I'd rather talk about how things are supposed to be. Because to me, yeah, but I always say that. Because the thing to me is, I'm not average. You think you're an average person?
No.
Okay. I don't think average people, I think very average people can point out problems. I think it's the exceptional people and above average people that figure solutions to those problems, right? We can sit up here and talk all day about what's wrong, but I used the analogy last time that when my children were in school, every semester I told them they start off with 100. And any points you lose is on you. So the first day of class, you got all A's. Now, if you gave up some points during the whole thing, so any relationship I go into, you got all A's with me. If we're talking about relationship, you got relationships with an S, you can have all A's with me. We can sit back and talk about what happened. Why would I give free advertisement to what didn't work?
Yeah, no shit. Really.
I'm with you on that.
But that's all I be saying. Because while we talking about, because when I, and I'm not fussing out, but I, kind of feeling pretty good. But
You feel real good.
You feeling yourself?
Oh Lord, I feel.
Yeah, you are.
My bad.
But sir,
Stop, KJ. But
there is.
My point is, when I say it's more important to keep the point, when I say it's more important to keep the point across, keep the peace, then you say, nah, they just want to cheat in peace.
I didn't say that.
No, I'm just.
I said it first.
I get it, but I didn't say you. If your shoes don't fit, don't put them on.
Point,
But the point. I'm pointing in the direction. But the point is, but once that seed is planted, any seed that's planted has to do something. If you put a seed in the ground, what is it going to do, Jesse?
Germinate.
It's going to germinate. And so when we put those words in the ground about, all they want to do is cheat in peace. It's gonna.
That's right.
It's gonna produce something.
I agree with that, but if we're not dealing with the reality of what's going on in our relationships nowadays, we are never going to reach a solution.
But we ain't in
you know
relationships.
Why? You know why?
What relationship we in?
Because we're avoiding them.
No,
the
but
same way the dude that's looking for the peace, he
situationship.
manipulates and he avoids.
But this is my point. Even with that, go ahead. You said what you're gonna say. I'm sorry.
I'm just saying, whatever you want to call it, situationship.
But I get it. But the thing is, this is my point. This is the point. Most of us don't even get in the starting blocks because of conversations like these. I'm not hypothetically. Think about it.
Dealing in the reality.
Because we're afraid of being.
I'm speaking truth. These men are out here running this
watch
narrative.
Cheaters all day long and then think you got cheated on and you ain't even in a relationship.
I've seen it happen.
I mean, you sit there all day long and watch cheaters. I'm talking in general, but real. I had a friend of mine, one of my best female friends. She told me over and over again, I'd never be cheated on a relationship. If I get cheated on a relationship, I get cheated on a relationship. I said, well, who got cheated on? Your mama? She said, no.
Why do it even have to be a statement?
Hold on, let me finish.
Peace.
Huh?
I mean, be my peace.
But let me finish this point. She said, I said, did your mama cheat? No. Get cheated on? No. Your grandmama get cheated on? No. Aunties? No. Anybody got cheated on? No. So why are you afraid of getting cheated on so bad? Would you go? I mean, can I ask you a question? Yeah. Would you go outside and fight air?
For what?
I mean, would you?
For what?
Because when we bring up these scenarios that aren't scenarios, we're fighting air. It ain't even real. If I say I'm worried about fighting somebody cheating on me and ain't nobody ever cheated on me, but I'm saying, nigga, you cheat on me, I'm fighting air, and I ain't never seen air with a black eye.
You see my face.
Not really. I don't understand the face. What's the point of the face so I can make sure I'm on point?
Okay, the point is, James, we are trying to reach a solution, okay? If we do not deal in the reality of what's going on, whether it's our problems as women, your problems as men, it doesn't mean that we have to dwell there, but we do have to address them. I was able to see that, hey, this one here, when he's talking about peace, he ain't talking about cheating in peace. I was able to see that through this conversation.
I thought we were addressing it.
You don't want it addressed.
I
That's why
thought we just
are.
addressed it. When you addressed it, I debunked it. Somebody asked something. You put something out. Anything to see it can be scrutinized, right?
Absolutely.
And so that's what I did. So that don't mean I'm not addressing it. I'm just saying that it's erroneous
And
sometimes. Yeah.
Y'all getting into my piece now.
Yeah, mine too.
As soon as I get home, I'm gonna be painting.
Well, I have a suggestion.
What's the suggestion?
All of us have had our hearts broken. This is how I had to look at it. All of us, I've had my heart broken before. Okay. It feels like it's fatal, but it's not. We all have survived.
It feels like it's what?
It feels like it's fatal at the time, but it's not.
It's not.
We all survived. So why be afraid of it?
Of what, love?
Yeah.
Of getting your feelings hurt, or you know, why be afraid to
feelings-
even? Why be afraid?
I made a recognition years ago that my feelings they can be based on the chemicals that's in my body, the testosterone, the estrogen, or whatever it is that a fella gets. My feelings are gonna change. My feelings are always gonna change. I don't like Brussels sprouts, but I haven't met the right woman that can make Brussels sprouts. And when I do, I like Brussels sprouts. And so my feelings are gonna change. So I make it a whole priority not to operate on my feelings. I don't care how mad she made me, I'm not gonna return in anger. You know what I'm saying?
That's a safe place.
I think,
and especially for me, growing up in a house full of women that was like, shut up. And so I don't want to get into any type of altercation or any type of, even when I got my teeth knocked out, it was 2 women attacked me. And I didn't want to fight them back until they broke my teeth out.
Forget about it, being a woman in, huh? Oh, he done pointed it out. I'm done.
But I feel you on that though, because
I was attacked by 2 women.
I remember with a hammer, wasn't it? With a hammer, wasn't it?
It was a hammer and a pipe. They hit me up. I got a lump on my head right now that you can see, where somebody hit me with a hammer. I'm talking about like what you're gonna nail into the wall. I have no reason to trust women for real, but I know that every woman is not representative of all women.
I heard that.
And I'm just being honest. I don't have any, Eric, I don't know, you can tell me if you have any friends like this too. I don't have any friends that sit around and bash women all day long though. And most of the
Men
friends
that do that must be gay anyway.
They might be. Do you know any men that sit around and bash women all day long? I don't want to ask that question yet, but it's a good question. It's a very good question.
I think it's equal.
I mean, because the only reason I don't want to do that question is because it may seem like we're being defensive. But you know it as well as I know. Right. Just like when that woman asked me, when I had to ask her, how many names have I called you in the last 3 years? Right. And she couldn't say any, but she called me at least 7 or 8. You feel what I'm saying? And I didn't take them personally. I wasn't hurt by them. You know what I'm saying? Really, I was kind of flattered. You know what I'm saying? Thank you for all those. Thank you for all of those superlatives that you put out there about me. I don't have a problem with that.
Now, James, I would say yes. I do know 1 or 2, but I cannot couple all women in that same, that fashion because that's not true. And most women who do that are women who have been hurt and have not healed, and they're trying to involve themselves in a relationship unhealed.
Absolutely.
So their perspective is going to stay the same.
Absolutely.
All the time, bashing me.
That's it. And some men would do the same thing, no doubt. But like I said, the men I know, I don't, and I would never sit back and talk. I mean, if I'm dealing with a woman, KJ, that I'm going to talk about, I'm not going to deal with her. Right. I'm just point blank. I mean, and that's the thing is, if you come in my relationship, if we're in a relationship, if I can't add to your life and you can't add to my life, what are we talking for? Point blank. And that, I think that's the thing. Sometimes we're so in love with the idea of being in love that we try to make a person fit into a perfect narrative, right? And that's the challenge of and then also we got to bring in all those past relationships. You got to bring in 2 women hit you with a pipe. And I'm not trying to be funny when I say that. No, but mentally it's there.
Oh.
It's there.
It's there. Women hit him with a pipe and with a hammer.
So you say you don't trust women, right?
Oh, I trust everybody. God's not going to put enough on me, so much on me that I can't handle. Even get my teeth knocked out. I was a very vain fellow before I got my teeth knocked out. And I had to spend a long time learning to readjust and recalibrate who I am as a person. Because I would see other people with their teeth missing. Look at you with your teeth missing. I had to become the guy. You know what I'm saying? I had to eat the sandwich.
So you feel
And
like
so
because
afterward, literally, if I could go back and keep them from busting my teeth out, and they'd went on to kill 2 people.
What?
Yeah, the police didn't do anything. If they would have stopped them when they attacked me, because these weren't people I knew. And so if they would have stopped them when they tried to kill me, they could have saved 2 other people that they wound up killing for nothing.
But 2 women attacked you.
On my front porch.
But you're still willing to go into a relationship.
Today.
And you're not willing to discount a whole race, species of women because of what 2 women did to you. Lord have mercy.
Do you feel like the women are doing that because we can acknowledge what's going on? Do you feel like we discount
Women
all
aren't doing
men?
what?
Women can see
That's
the
what I'm
games that's
saying.
going on. Do you feel like we discount all men and put all them in the same box?
Sometimes.
Absolutely not.
I think
Right.
so.
Sometimes.
There are some
I still
beautiful
believe
men
in
out
love.
there.
I still believe.
Let me ask you.
Because
Can I ask you a
beautiful
question?
men
I
out
feel
there.
lucky.
That's a good question. Can I ask you a question?
What?
You say you still believe in love, but
I
do you
do.
talk about love as much as you talk about the failures?
I do.
About the failures?
I'm hopeful.
I mean, does that make a good?
hopeful.
Is that a good point? Think about that. The point. This is what I'm saying. Because you say I still believe in love, and I believe you, but I believe you as well. But do people talk about
Do
the
our people?
you
I
positive?
talk about neither one of them.
Okay.
I do.
I mean, I do want.
Which one you talk about? Both of them?
Honestly, I'm at peace with being single because I'm
right.
healing in myself and I'm just loving on myself at this moment.
Right.
But I honestly,
How long you been healing?
about 8 years. Don't
8
clown
years,
me.
okay.
Don't
Some
clown
of
me.
us stay at healing.
But this is the
Some of us
truth.
stay at Healing Haven for so long. I ain't
Well,
gonna lie.
it's about waiting for the
But
right
you know what?
person.
But you know what the funny part about it is?
What?
You'll never know you're healed until you're in your next relationship.
You're right.
Because if you've never been tested, it can't be trusted.
And when he comes along, I'll get in that
get it.
thing.
I understand. I get
But
it.
until then, I'm untouchable.
And you're
player.
still healing.
Believe that.
I believe you healed.
That's a lifelong journey.
I believe you healed.
It's a lifelong journey. It's nothing that ever stops.
I'm not going to
It's something I'm gonna have triggers for the rest of my life.
For real?
Yeah.
You say
So-
it.
Well,
Especially if
it's
you
a
say
part.
that.
It's
Let me
the
ask something.
scientific
So,
part of it.
Dang, Veronica gone, ain't she?
Whereas
At a certain
Venetia
point-
and that one right there, they
Venetia
can
gone
tell
too.
you.
But
It's
at
a
a certain point, I
lifelong
can ask
journey.
you, will you be my therapist for a minute?
Like
Miss
like
Carol.
lifetime, you'll be able to be
Miss
learning
Carol,
and
will you be my
growing.
therapist?
Yeah, I'll forever
At a
have
certain
triggers.
But
I'll
you can
Hold on a
heal
second.
from certain things.
At a certain point, does a sore become a scar?
Yes.
And somewhere between a sore becoming a scar and it's a scab, right? It goes sore, scab, scar. The difference between a scab and a scar is what? One no longer has pain.
I've
Right?
had a scar.
So if you still feel, oops, I'm sorry. If you still feeling triggers, then you're right. That pain is still associated, so your sore is still in scab status.
Yeah, you got to get into some mental health, partner. Hold on. It is going to be a lifelong journey. Triggers are going to show you that it's a lifelong.
If you still have triggers, that means you're not healed. At a certain point, a person stops feeling triggers
Right.
once they're healed.
Ooh, sweet Jesus.
You're the only one saying that.
Baby.
If everybody else says something different, are you still right?
Sugar.
Call
Let's just
Phoenicia. Hold on, let me get Phoenicia on the phone.
call Phoenicia. Healing is a lifelong
Somebody
journey.
call Phoenicia for me, please.
But you might see it, but it don't. It may not have the same effect.
That's the point.
Exactly.
Because a lot of times, like I think, like I journal.
Right.
If you knew, I journal every day. If you know me, you know this is all day long with me. But a lot of times, I think I've gotten to the root when I've only cut the weeds down around it.
Exactly.
You know,
There's
it's
another
still
layer of healing
kind
for
of
it.
got, like you say, it's got some roots to it.
Yeah, but at a certain point, it's not a trigger if it doesn't hurt you anymore.
James.
If it's still hurting you, you're not healed. That just is what it is. But some people no longer feel triggers. I don't feel triggers anymore.
I do.
Yes, you do.
You know, no, I don't. No, I don't. You
Let me
can't.
explain
Your name
why.
is Raquel. It's not Jesus. So you're not omniscient. You can't tell me what I feel.
Okay.
And at the
I
end
can
of the
just
day,
show you
when-
you showing
The
display.
old folks say the things that used to bother me,
They don't
they don't bother me no
you.
more. Because I grew past that. I allowed myself to heal. Now, you see, that's the thing. So many people want, I know so many people that want to use healing like it's a badge of honor. I mean, hold on. Jurgis Moltmann wrote. I don't just talk about what I know. I read a little bit. Jurgis Moltmann wrote a whole book about suffering, and people talk about. They look at suffering like it's a badge of honor. All right, the world is changing.
All right.
Why do you remain the same?